while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires.
Hey guys and girls, this is Twist with YYC Designs, Custom RC Creations. Yes, you're in the right shop. Yes, you're in the right place. No, this did not come out of one of our trucks. Actually, it did come out of one of my trucks. It came out of the one-to-one Miss Voodoo. Her turbo is gone, and that's why I have had no power for a couple of months. Well, it took me forever to diagnose it myself because, well, I don't have a computer and I'm not going to the dealership because I can't afford them to diagnose it. And, well, it just continually got so bad now that it's like horse and buggy time would be quicker. So anyway, I thought I would show y'all rebuilding a turbo just for a change of pace. And, well, because I got to get it done. So unfortunately, we're going to have to put a hold or at least delay our regular videos here until I can at least get some of this rebuilt and get things going within a reasonable amount of time, just in case it decides to piss down rain. Tams doesn't exactly like riding in the rain on the bike. She will, but you know, if you don't have to, it's better. I like being dry. So, yeah, this is obviously out of the truck now. It's a 6-liter diesel, Power Stroke, in case y'all didn't know. It's a Ford, which is exactly what Miss Voodoo 1/8 scale is an exact replica of. I didn't figure you needed to have me show y'all how to get a turbo out of a truck. They're all pretty well basically the same. So here it is out, and let's get her apart and let's start seeing what's going on. So I cracked her open here, and now I got to get these bolts here undone so that we can get down inside and start having a look at the working parts of the turbo. Obviously there is just a whack of soot everywhere, so I am going to clean as I go. So give me a few and we'll get back to her here. So we got her all apart, and as you can see by this gigantic black sooty mess, I have a few hours of cleaning in front of me. So, nice part is my unison ring is not cracked. This is the part you're worried about. Now, I know I took a couple of the vanes out, but it sits in there like so, yeah? Now, once you split your turbo, and before you lift this unison ring out, you want to see if it will actually move. Okay? If it will move, and you see the little veins here, that'll be the veins that are underneath it, yeah? If you see those veins move with it, they will actually come out. They will actually open up and close, open and close, kind of like the aperture on a camera. Now, if you see that, and that ring moves freely, you know, like you didn't have to take a screwdriver and pry it out or anything like that. If it just sits in there and it moves like this one does. Sorry, it's hard to do this one-handed, but as long as that ring moves as this one does, you're probably okay to rebuild it, so long as this little hole here, this one right here where my finger is over. Now, if that gets looking like it's wore through, now I'm putting it up against a white paper towel in the background so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Now, if this bottom or up here at the top begins to look like a kidney bean shape, this unison ring is garbage. The other thing you want to do is look around this thing very carefully, clean it, inspect it for cracks, chips, anything like that. If it's cracked or chipped, it's garbage, and unfortunately, I think they're about $200 on Amazon. And of course, you're going to have to wait a few weeks to get it. However, sorry, I had hiccups there. However, that is much better than having to replace your turbo, yeah? So you can buy this ring separately on Amazon. I'm not sure of the part number, but it is called a unison ring, and that is the vulnerable part of your turbo right there. On at least your Power Stroke turbos, this is the vulnerable part right here. So now you take these rings or these vanes out. They're very simple. They just lift out. And what you want to do is you got to get in here and clean all of this soot out of here. Okay, all of this has got to come out. Now the easiest way to do it, normally I have a compressor. I haven't got it set up in my new shop yet, so I'm going to try it with a Dremel. And you take a Dremel and take a Scotch-Brite pad. One of the things your wife, or perhaps if you're a guy like me and you don't mind doing the dishes, you take a Scotch-Brite pad that y'all use for cleaning the dishes, cut it down to the size of, I guess, an American $1 bill, or $1 coin, or a Canadian loonie mandrel on your Dremel, and attach it somehow. You can glue, probably would not be your best, but try and attach it somehow or keep it under your Dremel somehow, and the Scotch-Brite pad on the Dremel, and run it around inside. And I'm going to try that with an electric Dremel. You do the same thing here. Now if that unison ring goes on here and it moves freely once it's clean, but if it fits good and everything, it will lock into place because of that pin right here. It's very hard to see because of all the soot and my blackened fingers. But there is a pin right at the end of this orange screwdriver. Right there. There's a pin, and that pin fits into that slot there. Place it on. Make sure you have no spaces or anything. Make sure it's not warped out or anything. And so long as it's not, and there's no play in it or anything else, again, this unison ring is going to be okay. Same thing. Clean it with a Scotch-Brite pad. Clean all of this soot out of here with a Scotch-Brite pad. And try to clean up all of this rust and get it back to looking at least like metal. Now, it is cast iron, okay? So do not grind it. It will disappear very quickly, and if you change the level or the pitch of this plate at all, you're in big shit, okay? Now it's time to replace your turbo. You're done. It's over. These are not serviced separately, period, so you cannot buy these parts here. Okay, so don't be grinding or sanding on any of these two parts, okay? Scotch-Brite pad, stuff like that, clean it up that way. You can now, y'all can use a little WD-40, or like this. This is a Canadian brand. Actually, this might be a brand you can get anywhere. It's brake cleaner, okay? But again, any chemicals, double check with your Ford guys. You should be okay. This one, I know for sure I am okay. This is a Napa product. I don't know if y'all can get it in the States. It's actually made by a company called CRC, and it's brake clean. Now, this is actually recommended by Ford to use on diesel engines. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that, do not approach your turbo with Varsol or gasoline, okay? Varsol will actually pit these surfaces, and you don't want that, okay? You can't pit these surfaces. This will have a small, your unison ring will have a small bit of pitting in it. Your vanes will have some pitting in it. You don't have to clean your vanes horribly much either. Just get the heavy soot off. If you're a fanatic like me, then you're going to take Scotch-Brite pad and make them look like brand new anyhow. But yeah, don't be approaching them with sandpaper or anything that's got grit in it that can score or mar these surfaces in here or on here, okay? So obviously I got a shitload of cleaning in front of me that is going to take a long time, so I'll get at it. I just wanted to get you all that far, and I will talk to you again when it's clean. Okay, so this is me again. For those of you who don't recognize me or are new to the channel, I am Twist from YYC Designz Custom RC Creations. And no, you are not confused. This really is an RC channel normally, but I had to take time off from the RC building to actually build on my real Miss Voodoo right there, who is obviously the subject of the replica I am building out in the shop. And the shop is out that away about 100 feet, and it's out behind my house. So yes, I work from home. Anyway, as you see in the background, the hood on the real Miss Voodoo is up, and yeah, that's my bike in front of it. That's Miss Silver. She is a 03 Yamaha Roadstar Silverado Limited Edition. She is number 251 of 300 made. And my daughters bought us the bike. And I have really good daughters, yeah? I love them dearly. And thankfully they love us. And they gave Tams and I a beautiful present in the bike. And I also bought Miss Voodoo off of my daughter Tatiana. So anyway, that's how I come to get my vehicles. So I didn't buy them new or nothing like that, but on my budget, that's how I tend to own two vehicles. Anyway, enough of that shit. So I had to take yesterday, which was Monday, off, like I said, because of my spinal injuries. I was all swollen up and really too stiff and sore. So I figured I'd give you a little walk around tour of Miss Voodoo here. Some of you seem to be interested in it. So what we shall do is flip the camera around and we'll give you a little tour of her real quick. So deep dark down in this chasm is where the turbo goes, and as you can see down there, I have had a little tiny oil leak, and some spilled out of the turbo, of course, when I pulled it. So that is not all leaked oil. That is just oil that came out of the turbo when you pull them out. And right down there at the tip of my finger is the high pressure oil pump inlet where that pipe goes into. That, of course, is my down pipe, and over there will be the other pipe. And you are obviously looking at the intake manifold, and down on top of the exhaust manifold and the EGR, which I have an EGR delete in this motor. And she's completely bulletproofed, though you can't tell. Well, actually, she's not completely bulletproofed. I have yet to get a antifreeze filter system on the truck. I am saving up for a Sinister diesel antifreeze filter system on the truck. So anyway, that's the mess I get to clean up. And so she is an 03. She is a dually. She's been around the block a little bit. And you will always recognize this because we do have the magnets on the side of the truck. And that stack is going to disappear here pretty quick. We're going to put a exhaust out the back end of the truck because, of course, we can't haul the camper with the exhaust the way it is. She's been around the block a few times. She's been out four-wheeling a lot, bending up the back bumper, bending up the front bumper. She does have the headache rack, though she does not have a roll cage to her. She is the four-door. Apologies about the glare from the sun, but I've got her equipped with quite a lot of stuff. I've got a CB radio in her, a UHF radio in her, so we run a couple of radios. And this is where, when we adopt our furry kid, this is going to be her seat, as it was with our Keisha that we had to let go of after 16 years. She passed of old age. So inside, this is the front. She's just basic. CB up top, UHF down below. She's a 6-speed manual. And yeah, so she's seen quite a lot of action, but she's an older truck. She's 14, 15 years old now. So yeah, she's in pretty decent shape for a 15-year-old truck. And like I say, she's got a 500,000 kilometers on her. And like that, so this is the truck that I decided to start the business on. And that's why I started with a 1/8 replica of Miss Voodoo, because she's a dually and she's kind of unique in that respect, that she's a dually 4x4, 1-ton, and I just thought she would make a really cool RC if we did a replica. So that's what I chose to start YYC Designz Custom RC Creations with, was doing a replica of her. And we're now where we're at today. And yeah, I know I'm showing you one-to-one stuff, which y'all might not be into, but I thought, well, this at least explains why I'm not posting an RC video this week. Or at least early this week. And it's because I need to get the truck fixed. Other than that girl right there, she is our only form of transportation. And that girl right there is not terribly impressive when it's very cold and when it rains. And May in Alberta is not traditionally known as a terribly safe month to count on the weather here. It has snowed in May. It has gotten very cold in the past. Today, however, we are expected to break I believe Tams told me it was a 97-year-old record or 93-year-old heat record. We are right around 30°C right now. I don't know exactly, so I don't know if we've broken the record or not. I think we have to reach 30.3°C, which is, let's see, let's look at the thermometer here real quick. I do have a thermometer here, and that's around, well, the thermometer's in the shade, so if it is 30. When it's not in the shade, it's 28 in the shade, which is 80 degrees, and 30 is a little above 90. So that is very strange for us here in Calgary to face that kind of temperature at this time of the year. We're usually in the high teens, low 20s at the very best. So anyway, I will stop yabbering here, and now that y'all have seen the truck and you see the mess I gotta clean, I better pitter patter and get at her and get her done, or Tams is gonna start cracking the whip on me here, I think. So I kind of wasn't thinking, and I lost my brain concentrating on fixing my turbo here, because this is actually the first time I ever rebuilt a turbo. So I was kind of watching some YouTube videos like that to make sure I was doing it correctly and so on. And yeah, so anyway, I went and bolted it together without filming, and so I gotta apologize, But it does work really nicely, as you can tell. It's nice and smooth, no noises. It's just a thing of beauty down there. And I've got the paper towel here stuffed into the oil ports, the inlet, and of course the one that attaches to this piece of pipe here, which goes to the H-pop, or the high pressure oil pump, which is at the back of the 6-liter engine, and which I also presently have a small leak I have to go find, because I've been pissing out oil. Not bad. I'm about a liter a month, but it makes the top of the engine very messy. And when you have a turbo that's gone bad like mine, now I have, if I could dry it out, I would have the best burning charcoal in the world between the soot and the oil that is in my engine bay, which I will get to here shortly. The only thing I wanted to mention about the turbo now is it can really only go back together one way, because there is tabs that have to fit together. So it's pretty much idiot proof putting it back together. The other thing is, you want to make sure that you torque down your hex bolts here. They actually happen to be 5/16 12 point. I don't know what they are in metric. I didn't have a metric socket to fit them, so they are and I'm sure they're probably metric, because everything else on the truck is, except when you get lucky like this. And a 5/16 12 point wrench and or socket happens to fit these perfectly. So if you haven't got metric tools, guys, girls, 5/16 takes your turbo apart, puts it back together. You cannot really separate the fan assembly inside. It is non-serviceable on this Garrett turbo. This is a stock turbo, by the way, for the 6-liter. It had never been touched. This one has 500,000 kilometers on it, and it honestly was the first time it had ever been touched, and I could tell that when I cracked it open. So I really don't think it owes me a whole lot. And the rebuild kit was all of $60 Canadian on Amazon. So I'm hoping this is going to cure my power problem. It's going to cure a few problems anyway, because it is running much freer than it was, and the vanes actually move in the turbo now, whereas they definitely weren't. It was one hell of a sooty mess, as you can see by my what used to be white workbench. I guess it was a waste of time painting it the way I did, because now I have to repaint it to make it kind of studio quality for y'all. As you can tell by just the level of soot that is all over everything. When I took the Dremel there, and I'll be honest with you, I started out with one of these little wheels in brass, and it was a piece of shit. The brass hoobies just flew out of this thing at a phenomenally quick rate. I think it lasted all of about 3 minutes. The plastic one, these are plastic bristles that are on here now. They hurt a lot less. I was actually picking those little brass needles out of that son of a bitch, out of my chest, out of my arms, for all day yesterday, which was Monday. Pain I was in from working on this thing on Sunday. I took yesterday off and picked brass needles, these little buggers here. I don't know if you can see them here. These little brass guys right here, those little things. They fly off at 20,000 RPM or whatever you have your Dremel set at. I set it at 20,000 to clean this thing and make it all nice and shiny silver again. And I know those things, I read the package, they're rated for 30. I can't imagine how quickly it would come apart at 30,000 RPM, but they're literally just shit. Don't use them. The plastic one does the same job, way better, and it doesn't create any sparks if you're in a shop like mine where you have flammable stuff around you. I have at least a couple of hours of cleaning and so on out there, so that's where we'll go next. So I decided against worrying about going back out and showing you the engine bay again. All it was just a filthy oily mess, which y'all saw, and I'm pretty sure you didn't want to watch a few hours of me being very OCD about cleaning my engine and like that there to make it all shiny and clean and get it ready for the turbo to go back in. I did, however, while cleaning, discovered what my oil leak was. I have been, as I said, losing about a liter a month, which basically leaves the truck marking its territory everywhere we go. It's kind of like a puppy that way. It sort of left a little trail of where it's been. And it was very annoying and very messy, obviously, in my driveway. So it's been driving me nuts, though, because I have checked absolutely frickin' everywhere on this engine trying to find where this oil leak has come from. And I thought initially it was a rear main seal leak, but we had to do a transmission swap on the truck when I bought it from my daughter T. It wouldn't go into third gear, and she'd been using it around her acreage and hauling hay and that kind of shit around her acreage. So it hadn't really been out on the road, and she neglected to tell me that she hadn't put a lot of miles on it in the last couple of years that she owned it. And so she really didn't know that it wouldn't go into third gear anymore. We got a used tranny. Actually, it wasn't so used. It came out of another 351 ton. And it only had about 125,000 K on it. And the dude that owned it rolled the thing in BC, which is the province to the west of us, and just totaled the truck. However, the drivetrain survived really well. So we got new intercooler, new tranny, new transfer case, all that jazz for a pretty good buck, really. We got it used for $2,500, and that included shipping it all the way from Kelowna, which is around 9 hours away, driving-wise. I can't remember exactly how far it is in miles or kilometers, but it's like a 9-hour drive. And so anyway, we got it all sent here for $2,500, and that included the shipping. Yeah, so we got a hell of a deal on that. And because I didn't have the equipment here to drop the tranny, I decided that I would turn around and look for some help. Well, Tatiana felt bad, and she said, well, hey, Dad, take it in. So I took it into this dealership, and they actually gave me a pretty good deal on just swapping the tranny out. I did all the rest of the setup and all that. They swapped the trannies, and boom, so we had a working tranny, and everything was peaches and cream, except 7 months later, an oil leak started. And I checked the rear main seal at that time, and the thing was bone dry. But of course, now, you know, after a year of driving with this little oil leak and getting very annoyed at not being able to find it, it looks like it's a rear main leak because, of course, the oil's all down the back of the engine and on the top of the tranny, down the sides of the tranny, basically over the whole undercarriage of the truck, which is a real pain in the ass. However, while cleaning today, I discovered that it must have been from the turbo drain pipe down into the H-pop. So I've cured that, and that's gonna, I'm almost 100% positive that is going to cure my oil leak, and fingers crossed that the turbo is going to actually do what it's supposed to do and we get all our horsepower back. I will keep you all updated on that. And I hope you enjoyed a little change of pace on the videos. I guarantee you it's not going to happen very often. It's just I wanted to show y'all why I wasn't putting out a video this week, and I thought, hey, I can't not put a video out and disappoint 30 people. I just can't do it. It's not in me. So I hope y'all enjoyed watching a video on some 1-to-1 wrenching instead of some 1/10 scale wrenching. And yeah, so there's our early week video is going to be this one, and I'm not really sure what's going to come up next, except for we did get commissioned to do 2 new RCs here recently from a really good dude out of California. And we are going to be doing a 1939 Diamond T pickup crawler, as well as a 56 Ford F100 hot rod. And they are going to be really cool. So the Diamond T is likely going to be the next video out that you're going to see. I've already got some footage shot of it, so look for it here probably. Today's Tuesday. This is very late Tuesday night. It's 10 of midnight. So I don't think it's going to get out tomorrow night unless I get really lucky with getting the turbo into the truck really quick, which with my back I kind of have my doubts. So look for the video on root beer. We had a little up and down with the name. We decided we were in a quandary over Ripsaw or root beer, or not Ripsaw, Riptide or root beer. In the video I'm calling it Riptide, but then Tams and I have discussed it, and I was kind of always favoring root beer, so we're going to go with root beer on that truck. And it's because it's going to get paint. The owner has already decided that he wants the main body color to be root beer, and we are going to do some copper pinstriping and highlighting on it. Very little, but just enough to make it look really groovy and really sexy. And so that is why we're calling it root beer, is because it's going to get painted in a high gloss, maybe a little bit of pearl added if I can convince the owner, and root beer, metallic. So it's going to be a sexy color, I promise you. It's really, really pretty. So anyway, that's how it got its name. The other one is Black Rose, and I will explain that when it happens. That is the 56 Ford F100, and the owner chose the vehicles, which I think he has made an awesome choice. The 56 is going to be a 2-wheel drive, so it's going to be something different. It's going to be something really cool. It'll have wheelie bars. It's going to travel faster than skunk stink, and you know, who knows, the whole build might just get nuttier than squirrel shit, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And they're going to be 2 really sexy little 1/10 scale RCs for this guy. So look for those, and root beer will be coming up at least, at the very latest, you'll see a video on root beer on Friday night, hopefully Thursday night, which is in 2 days' time. Until then, I am Twist with YYC Designz, Custom RC Creations. Y'all have a good week. Don't work too hard. Be good, and just have a ball. Happy trailing, happy crawling. Till then, talk to ya. Bye-bye.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires